Welcome to another episode of the Clutch Podcast. Today we have the owner of Loan Ranger Captial, a $500 million hard money fund in Austin, Texas, okay? He is probably one of, for sure, top 5 biggest private money funds in the state. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, man, I mean, we're somewhere, we're 100% the top 5. It's tough to measure because nobody tells you how big they are.
Exactly. But you got deeds, you got all the,
We go back channels to try to figure it out. So
you got the deed recorder.
We got plus or minus.
There you go. So, guys, my guest today, and a fellow Austinite right down the street, second back-to-back, Mr. Zack Lofton.
Man, thank you so much for having me.
Man, thank you for coming. We've been trying to do some deals now here for a little while now.
We're getting them through now.
We're getting them through. I appreciate y'all's hospitality when y'all invited me over the last time to your office. And what I can say was I was very surprised. So I had never been in a hard money company before, but when I saw it, it was very similar to my office.
Yeah.
So you got the sales pit, you got your I mean, I don't know if you would call them transaction coordinators, but you know, your admin section.
Yeah, we call it like our ops team. It's like the transaction folks, the title people, the insurance people.
There you go.
You know, the folks who are working on the draws, the accountants, like all that shit. It's,
all right, man. So I want to know the story of how you got from starting a hard money capital fund from scratch, and now to running a $500 million fund. Like, that sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like the beginning of Facebook or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of money to deal with.
Man, it's pretty wild. You know, and it's been a hell of a ride. And if you would have told me, I mean, shoot, we just celebrated 8 years, so we're in year 9 now. I mean, 8 years ago would never have guessed this. And I mean, we've been so fortunate, but you know, I guess I can go all the way back to college. I mean, didn't even know what I wanted to do. Initially, I was supposed to go play football at Dartmouth, which that's not a football school. It's a good academic school, but it's not a football school.
Really? What position?
Defensive end. I was a lot bigger.
Okay.
Slow as hell still, but bigger. That fell through. I threw my back out right before, so ended up going in-state to University of Arizona. Very different school, not an academic school.
Party school?
Yeah. I mean, it's Tucson, Arizona. It's like, yeah, that's the only thing to do out there. Man, but had a great time out there. Graduated, got into banking in San Francisco pretty quick. Just as quickly as I got into that, realized I hated it. You know, suit and tie every day, riding the subway. They call it BART out there. Man, I just hated it. And it's like, you know, what I realized pretty quickly was in the big banking world, and like mostly what we were doing was like $100 million type, like really big, like office type towers, like really, really big real estate deals. And it sounds cool at first blush, but it's so robotic. It's like, here's the box. It's got to fit exactly this. It doesn't matter if it's actually a good deal. Like, you know, you've got that gut about what's a good deal, what's a bad deal. You're going to back it up with your metrics, but it's like, is it in the box or out of the box? And man, I hated that. So tried to get into something else pretty quickly. So I studied, got my CFA, which that's just a fancy way to say that I can manage money.
Okay.
It's a pain in the ass to get, but I got it. And then after that, I was pretty marketable. And I ran into a guy who had a hard money fund in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And he's telling me about this thing. I'm like, so you're doing these small, high interest rate loans on little flipper properties. And, you know, I thought I was bad. I thought it was cool, like doing these big, like, you know, crazy, like multi-million-dollar office deals and like apartment deals, shit like that. And I'm like, no, that's crazy. Like, that's dumb. I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that?
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just little. And then I started looking into it. I'm like,
oh, you're talking about the house loans?
The fix and flip, hard money stuff. I was like, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
And then I look into it. It's like, this is really freaking exciting. Like, this is badass. Like, and this is like, you know, people are making money. They're making it fast. They're doing a bunch of these. Like, they're really analyzing the deals and like figuring out, like, it was fun. So I got hooked pretty fast. So I started working for them. And then shoot, within a couple of years, I was like, man, I love this. I want to do this on my own now.
It kind of sounds like wholesaling real estate a little bit.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And how many people have like branched from there too?
Yeah.
Man, it was. Man, I loved it, but I didn't want to compete in state. In the same state as them.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, I got to move a couple states over so we don't compete. Never been to Texas in my life.
Really?
Flew out there one time. I was like, yeah, I could live here. But I mean, the reason I picked it looked like somewhere that was going to grow a lot. The economic environment was good. The state was super business friendly. So I was like, shit, I'm going to do that. And then really just picked Austin because it was in the middle of that kind of Texas triangle there. So if I was wrong, I could pivot to one of the other cities.
Okay. So location?
Yeah. And so that's how we got started.
Okay.
It's been crazy since then, but that's at least what led us up to starting Lone Ranger. And I guess, yeah, part of the name too, we got the cheesy Lone Ranger name, but that was all by design too. Cause what we learned with hard money is like, they don't like the flippers don't want to use a bank. Like, the bank is good for certain things, but yeah, they're slow. It's methodical. There's multiple levels of like bureaucracy.
Right.
It's like, man, I want to call someone. I want to get a deal done. I want you to fund it, tomorrow. And it's like, okay, we need to make it really clear that we're not the bank.
Right.
So we did Lone Ranger with a little pun, LOAN.
That's awesome. So it was like the opportunity of hard money was born from the mom and pop real estate investors.
100%.
Pretty much that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to give them the money.
And that's like that's our bread and butter is, it's not like we're working with people who are doing 50 deals a year. I mean, we work with a couple of folks like that, but the majority of it's like mom and pop folks. They got 1 to 3 deals going at any given time. And, they're super successful. They're making money, it's been markets up and down, but that's what we love.
Okay. So that's interesting. It's crazy how that it was born from that, right? So like to me, hard money and what we do here has always worked hand in hand.
Totally.
Because it's almost a branch.
That. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like any smart wholesaler would have very good relationships with their lenders, right? If you knew what you were doing. I've always worked that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, because you think about wholesaling. You guys got to get them under contract. You got to buy them fast. It's got to move fast. I mean, that's where we come in because you go down to Chase Bank, try to finance one of these. That deal's gonna die. So the hard money folks, we come in, we do it fast. The interest rates are higher than the bank, but the idea is this isn't your 30-year mortgage. This is you're supposed to be in and out. Like let's get in, fix it, flip it, get out. So that annualized interest rate. If things go to plan, that shouldn't come into play. Like that double-digit interest rate. You divide it by 12. That's your rental for money, and hopefully you're only in that thing if it's a flip, like 4, maybe 6 months on the long end.
Yeah. So when you first started, when you moved to Austin, Texas, and you started, was it just you? It was you by yourself?
It was just me. So I moved to Austin, Texas, packed up my truck, drove out.
By yourself? 100%. You didn't have a girlfriend or nothing?
Nothing.
Damn, okay.
Nope. Drove out by myself. Didn't know it was sold out here. And then got an apartment on East Riverside, which, people familiar with Austin, East Riverside is great now. 8-9 years ago, East Riverside was slightly different. But man, that was the world HQ.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't have money for an office. It was, we're a really big fund now. The beginnings were, really humble. And, as we've grown the business, that's something that's been really important to me that we keep is because we got to remember why we exist. It's because we don't want to be the bank. So, as we keep growing, we always have to keep checking our egos. Like, no, you're not the big badass bank. You're the local hard money lender. Like, and you want to stay local. Even though we're big, we want to look, feel, act small to where someone calls our office. You talk to a human. You don't talk to some answering machine. You want to talk to Zach? Well, shoot, I sit 10 feet away from everyone else in the office.
Yeah, I seen that.
They'll just like tap me on the shoulder.
I seen that. I told you. So ever since I went to your office, I switched up everything. So I haven't been using my office since I went to your office. I saw you right there in the pit. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I want to be with everyone, man. Yeah. I want to be out there. We're going to celebrate the victories. We're going to talk some shit. We're going to have a good time and, keep morale up.
Mm-hmm. So okay, when you first started, how much money did you start with for your first loan?
Man, so we had, God, how big was that loan? I want to say it was a $180,000 loan. And I think right before we funded it, I was able to raise like $200K.
Really? So you got the loan without even having the money for it?
Always.
Really?
Not always. I'm
Always.
messing around.
Interesting.
I'm messing around there. But
No, there was some seriousness to that.
Man, the first 3 months,
Yeah.
it was like that seesaw of like cash and deals to where, you need cash, but you need deals because you raise cash from the investors.
Uh-huh.
You better find a deal like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because the clock starts running. You got to pay them. It's similar to like the hard money loan. You get a hard money loan.
Yeah.
You're paying interest on that.
Yeah.
So the investors are essentially like my hard money loan.
Right. That's interesting. So like I think like the for the viewers looking, so now they're inspired. They're like, so I can start a hard money company?
Man, yeah, you can. And like the way I started was it was friends and family money to start with. So it was like, hey, 10, 20K here. I knew some other people from the banking world, was able to get a little bit of money there, wrangle it up. I mean, shoot, even like the CFA network, which is like, it's like that acronym for essentially you can raise money, was able to get a little bit of cash there. So, it's not like today we've got some big investors.
Mm-hmm.
Man, back then it's like, shoot, I'd drive across town and like wash someone's car if I knew I was going to get a 10K investment from it.
Really?
Not literally, but
yeah, no, I get it. But how let's just say from there to now, what's your biggest lender or like one guy? What's the most that you get from one person?
Like $7 million.
$7 million. Just sends a wire over.
Yeah. And what's cool with us is, like in our fund.
I want to know him.
Yeah, right. Shit, I don't talk to him. I talk to the secretary.
Damn. Okay.
No, but like with our fund, so we're raising money and we pool it together. So like some people, what they'll do is like there's a couple different ways to structure hard money. Mm-hmm. And like the most common these days is like selling the note, like which is essentially like a broker. I get your info, we do the loan, we kind of white label it, and then we sell it, and like some third party servicer messes with your stuff, like FCI. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of hard money lenders work that way, and it's that's kind of like how mortgages work, and that's cool. I don't personally want to run my business that way, but I think there's a time and place for it. You can definitely get lower prices that way. Uh-huh. It's just going to be less flexible because the person they sell their loan to, they don't know you. You're just another name on a piece of paper.
Right.
So if you run into hardship or you go over budget or something like that, it's like, nah, like pay.
Right.
Whereas with us, I mean, these are our people. Like we want to work with them not one time. We want to work with them 20 times over.
Right.
And if we're going to work with someone 20 times over, I need you to make money on every single deal. So when you win, we win. And I mean, I think that's at least in my opinion, that's the best mentality to take with this, because where everyone's truly winning. Mm-hmm. The other slightly different way to us is we pool all the money together. I've got sole discretion over what we do. It works out. The investors trust me because I was able to get a track record with them. Mm-hmm. But the alternative is, I raise a little bit of money from you. I plug you into this one deal. I raise a little bit of money from someone over there. We plug them into that deal. And that's kind of a pain because you might be a nice guy and he's kind of a hard ass and you don't know what flavor you're getting on which deal.
The accounting on that sounds horrible.
It's a nightmare.
Sounds like a mess.
No.
How many accountants do you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We got two.
2 accountants?
No, yeah.
They do all the bookkeeping and everything.
Yeah, it's killer. Yeah, our team's badass. I mean, everyone's like young, hungry, wants to scrap. I mean, that's the mentality that we want. We're also, we're scrappy, but, we're smart about it. We create systems. You document everything. And then how can you automate? How can you utilize technology and all these things? It's like, just getting smarter. Like one of our core values of the company is 1% better every day. So, we don't got to change the world today, but we can't regress today. And then we also have to be better than we were yesterday. And then if you're 1% better every day and you take out weekends, so like 250 working days a year, you're 2.5 times better than you were at the start of that year. It's like, that's nuts. You tell anyone, hey, you'll be 2.5 times better than you were at the start of the year, everyone takes that. But you say 1% better, it's like, that's just one. That's little.
Yeah.
But, that's what it takes.
I could tell you're real big on personal development and all that. I think that's why we kind of get along.
Yeah.
First thing I saw was like an Andy Frisella book when I got there to your office. Yeah. And then I see your tattoo. It says "Win the Day."
Win the day.
So you're big on that. You're big on mindset.
Really big.
You're big on that. So is that one of the things you think separates you from? I mean, like, you know, that's a big company. $500 million is a lot to be in charge of for a private fund. How big would you say like mindset plays a part in that?
Man, I think it's huge, and because, you know, I think with most companies, you know, the way the founder, the CEO acts, I mean, that's what creates culture. And if you're not big on that, how can you expect everyone in your company to be big on that? And then if they're not big on that, then you have to get overstaffed, and you've got a bureaucratic office where, you know, people are punching in, punching out. So, man, I think that's huge. And that's like part of, like we were talking earlier, like, well, I'll sit in the sales pit, or like with the ops people out there. Like, I don't want to be holed away all day because, you know, part of my job is getting people pumped up, getting people fired up, you know, celebrating those little victories. Riding people's asses when we don't get the little victories too. But, you know, that's what keeps it fun.
Yeah. And I think that plays a big role too. Like in our company, we're big on that, right? So starting from me and everybody in the company. So it's real big on that. I want to know how the lenders make money first. Yeah. So like, let's just say, for instance, I want to give 2 examples, but we'll start with that guy. I mean, I know it's rare. It's one of your biggest accounts. Yeah. But that guy gives you $7 million. How much money does he make off that $7 million? How does he make money off that with you?
So, I mean, like on average, that person's probably gonna make 10% a year.
10% a year. So $700,000 a year. Okay. That's not bad.
And he, you know, the idea with our investors, the deal we have, and like each fund will be different. Like they'll have their different rules. Our deal is we've got a lot of investors. They have to trust me to be a good steward of their money. So they gotta trust me to call the shots and do what's in their best interest. So like that $7 million guy, I don't need him calling me once a week saying, hey, what was the LTV on this one? You know, what was the interest rate on that one? It's like, you know, I'm going to get you plus or minus 10% every year, but I'm going to need you to, you know, enjoy the ride.
Yeah. So do you cut him a check every month, every quarter?
Month. Yep.
So $700,000. So he's getting a check for almost $70,000 every month.
Or so for the year. So whatever $700K divided by 12 is, that's what he gets each month. Yeah. But yeah, on a year he gets 10%.
Damn. Yeah, that's good.
And so the way we make money is, you know, the interest payments, they're due on the 1st. We got to collect those. We bundle them up. And then a couple of weeks later, we send those off to our investors. And that's how they get paid. They're really getting paid off the interest. The way we make money is by doing new deals. So like the origination.
The points.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that, the points, the upfront fees, that's what covers our staff. That's what covers, you know, the rent. That covers everything. And so anything that's left over after that, that's the profit.
So just to get like, just for the viewers to get like a picture of it, to kind of get it in their head. So like how much money are you loaning at this point per month, would you say, plus or minus?
Man, depends on the month. I mean, right now, probably at least $30 million a month.
$30 million a month in loans. And just mostly Texas.
Yeah, I mean, we're big Texas. We do a very small amount in Tennessee. Okay. And then we've got a sister company in North Carolina as well. But yeah, I mean, it's really Texas based. We love Texas. You know, we're in Texas. You know, we like all things local. So, I mean, we want to have our biggest presence in Texas because that's the market we know and the one we're really confident in.
Okay, so let's just say you lend out $30 million every single month. So to your investors out of that, you're paying $3 million.
Oh, man, they get paid on the whole portfolio, no matter what. So if we do 0 new loans that month, but we still have 500 that are paying as interest, they get paid on that whole 500.
Every month?
Every month.
500 million.
So yeah, the 500 million in loans,
dang.
They're getting 10%. So that's...
Can you hit the thing, man? God dang. Albert, I think you got to be over there. We're not getting no sound or nothing like that.
Yeah, but like on that 500 million, the investors collectively are going to get $50 million.
50. So you're paying $50 million a year.
Yeah, out to investors.
Damn. So like, and that's what you're paying out. So that's just, I'm not going to say how much do you make, but you can paint a picture.
I don't make that much, buddy.
No, but okay. So you don't. So you're not really trying to make money off of interest, right?
No, I mean we're not seeing that money.
So you'll pay 10 and you'll make 12. Let's just say.
Yeah, and you got to factor in some for like not 100% of folks are going to pay that month.
Right.
We might be going through some of that. Some people got a higher interest rate, lower interest rate. So, after everything, it kind of blends out to about 10.
About 10%. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're not really making money then off interest.
Not really.
So you're making money off 3% on every loan, and then plus your doc fees and everything.
Yeah, those are kind of like a wash, though. It's like it's money in, money out. It's like nets out to zero.
So where do you actually make your money then?
The origination, but like the doc fees and stuff like that, we don't actually make money.
Oh, so the origination, you're talking about your 3 points?
Yeah, the 3 points.
So what's 3 points on $500 million? Shoot.
It's a good chunk.
All right, guys, y'all can use your calculator for that. But okay, I'm just trying to understand it, right?
Yeah, but trust me, I wish that was the net. That's
no, of course
you think
not.
about your revenue and your profit.
Yeah.
That's the revenue.
Yeah, but the bigger the revenue, the bigger the profit, right?
Hopefully, if you run your business the right way.
Yeah. Okay, so was there a part in your career? Okay, you started literally in an apartment in Austin, Texas, by yourself.
Yep.
You had a $200,000, $180,000 loan was your first loan. Mm-hmm. When was that point when you were like, all right, we're about to make some serious money in this business? Do you remember that time?
Man, that's a good question.
Because you've been in it for 8 years. Like when the money really started coming in, where you're like, okay, this is worth the trouble.
Man, I mean, it might have been, I bet maybe probably 3 years in. Because
3 years?
It started, and it's like, even if you're growing exponentially, so it's like you double. If you're starting from this little, doubling doesn't mean that much.
Yeah, and your overhead grows.
Yeah, and then, I remember, hired my first employee. I was still in a rental at that point. Nick, who's actually still with us, he's our COO now. He was our first ever employee, and he would come to my apartment, work with me in that crappy little studio. But man, that wasn't the point, because it's funny. It's like you're making money, then you hire your first person. It's like,
yeah,
now you're making less money,
right?
Because you got to leverage that person to make even more money now.
But you don't see it right away. You just get the dip.
No, it takes months and months to get back to where you're making that money.
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, that's part of running a business is.
That's the part that people don't see.
Yeah, and you got to keep betting on yourself and making those calculated bets. To where you're being smart with it. And just believing in yourself, doing that. And I think that's part of why, I can't even pinpoint the day that it felt like we were making real money, because, it's like being an entrepreneur, growing the business is always, you're fighting. And I've always wanted to keep that like chip on your shoulder mentality. Like, it's me against the world. The odds are stacked against us, but
it's never enough.
Yeah, no matter what, we're going to make it. We're going to go out kicking and screaming.
You have that relentless mindset.
Yeah.
I can tell, because there's no other way that you're going to grow a $500 million fund without having that relentless mindset, right? So, where are you going to keep growing it? What's the goal? Do you have a goal, or is it never going to end?
Yeah. So each year we'll set goals. The end goal, there's no way. So you just keep moving the goalposts. Like you get that goal, and then you get the new goal, and then you get the new goal.
So do you think it's going to be a few billion fund?
That's the goal.
A few billion?
That's the idea is, we want to take over the Texas market. We want to own the Texas market. We are so far away from doing that. Like, there is so much low-hanging fruit. We have a great presence in Austin. We got a ways to go in San Antonio. We got a ways to go in Dallas. We got a ways to go in Houston. So that's, there's a lot of money to be made, and there's a lot of promise out there. We got to seize it.
Well, between the 4 markets, what do you think your a good solid fund would be for those 4 markets?
Oh man,
like 10 billion. You think it can soak up 10 billion?
See, and that's what's so hard, is because like the number of transactions is so hard to measure, because like what you can do, like you can pull deeds and stuff like that, and like measure all the hard money lenders. But then it's like, there's so many hard money lenders. Like, there's a good handful of like large ones, but the number of like private money guys, like the doctor, lawyer money, like dentist type guy who's like lending out money on one project at a time, there's hundreds of those guys that we don't know exist. So man, I'd throw out some crazy number like that. I'd be wrong. Like, I'm 100%.
At least 5 billion.
Oh, totally. I think so. And then you think about like what can be done too, like the number of people who are paying cash for their deals. That's
a lot.
It's a bigger number than people think.
Yeah.
So yeah, the opportunity is out there.
Oh, man, that sounds like I couldn't imagine trying to take over all the markets. What that would look like on systems, processes, with your sales team would have to look out, like your accountants,
Yeah.
just everything. Like what when you have goals like that, do you even think of that, or you just like we'll take it as it comes?
Man, so I mean, a lot of it is like, what's it like that Mike Tyson quote? Like everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So it's like we got the goal and we go there, and then it's like thousands of details every step of the way, and you're like, ah, shit, we didn't think about that with the accounting side, or man, okay, with the sales force, they're over, they're swamped now, so we got to figure this out, or we got to get an admin on the sales front, or they're actually hungry now, they don't have enough leads, so we got to vamp up marketing. So it's just so many steps every step of the way, and part of that is having awesome processes that are not set in stone. It's like as things change,
It evolves.
we evolve them.
Right.
So we don't get married to anything. And then also, I mean, just having great people. I mean, that's huge. Having great people that believe in the mission, that, ride for the brand and, are going to put in the work and get it figured out.
Yeah.
And like a lot of our people too, they don't have hard money experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You gotta
just,
show them everything.
yeah, it's good, sharp people though, who want to get stuff done and have that drive. And it's like, man, the details, we'll teach you the details. That's the easy part. People who care about it and want to do it, that's the hard part. Like you can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
Yeah.
That's character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Right now, see, that's what I love about my team. Right now, we have great character in our team. That's what you got to get to. I had to do a lot of pruning, right?
Oh, yeah. and yeah, you get some people right, you get some people wrong. But it's
Right.
like, hey, the ones that you got right, they keep, exponentially increasing. So
Right. What do you think your strength is in the company?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Man, I think I'm a tinkerer. Like I always want to tinker with processes. So, I don't hole up and I only focus on this part of the business. I like to look at everything. And then we get good people plugged in to take over those things day to day. But then, I'll shift over here and I'll say, dig into the process, look at it. How can we improve it? How can we improve, that 1% better to make the sales process 1% better? Our technology stack to maybe automate this many things, but also keep a personal touch and make sure that, they're always interacting with humans when they want to. So I think that's probably my strength is I'm never satisfied with the process.
Do you have it mapped out? Do you have like a process map and everything?
Man,
Are you very
is
detailed in that?
super? We got it written out. I mean, it's like hundreds of pages, videos, all of that. And it's, it sounds crazy and it's a lot of work, but, we onboard someone onto the team.
It's easy.
And we sign them through like Loan Ranger College.
Yeah.
And so they're going to take the classes, take the videos. And then even after they're already onboarded, all the stuff we do is either written or like videoed out. And I mean, that's an investment of time. You got to take your eye off of a lot of other projects and like
Sales.
selling and like building the business to do that. But then it's like having a business is multiplying yourself. If
Right.
you're a one person shop and you're doing everything, you're an entrepreneur, but you're not a business. And being a business is having more people that you leverage for a bigger goal.
Right.
And so that's the idea. But yeah, you got to take your eye off the sales ball for a while, and that's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
It was really hard to do.
Unless you have a Paul.
Paul doesn't sleep.
So it's like a lot of people don't see that in the entrepreneur world of the details, right? Of the details of everything. So, that's not my strength. What your strength is definitely not my strength.
Everyone's got their own flavor. Yeah, as long as you find people to plug in those different, it's like I got strengths in certain things. I got a lot of weaknesses in a hell of a lot more places.
Yeah.
Then I surround myself with people who make up for my weaknesses.
Are you a sales guy?
No. I'm able to fake it. I was able to fake it when I was a one-man band.
Yeah.
But, like Paul is our like sales guru.
He is a good
And
salesman.
He does all that stuff for me, for us, which is awesome now because he loves that stuff. That energizes him. That gets him pumped up. Like
That's his strength.
He wakes up, he does that. Like where I get pumped up on other things, selling, I can do it and I've done it, but it drains me.
It's not
I'm
you.
sitting there selling. Yeah, that's not me. That's not my personality.
See, because that's me. I'm a sales guy.
Yeah.
I love sales. I can teach anybody sales. I can get on the phone, close anybody.
Yeah.
But accounting,
Yeah.
it makes my brain. I can't think.
And then it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that then.
Yeah, so I don't do that. Yeah, I have an accountant. And then, but what I think in our company we need the most is like an integrator, because I'm a visionary. I can see it all.
It's like a EOS. You know what that is?
Yeah,
like,
attraction.
Yeah.
So I have it
That's
in
a
my
great
office.
book.
Yeah. So I'm great at the visionary, the big picture.
Yep.
And I can draw it out, but I need somebody to put the processes together. Do you have somebody like that, or is that you?
So I feel like I kind of straddle the two now. So we got Paul on like that sales side, like kind of just go out there and make it rain.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is that guy I said was our first employee ever, Nick. Nick is that implementer role to where Nick, we get a process and he will run a tight ship. Like he will make sure stuff gets done, keep people accountable, and go forward that. So, you know,
KPIs, all that. He runs all that. Okay.
So then Nick and Paul are like yin and yang, where Nick is tight, regimented, Paul loose cannon, but those blends work really good together.
Okay.
And then I kind of go in the middle and just, you know, keep the balance. When it goes too far that way, we shift that the other way, and you know,
Gotcha.
it's always changing.
So what are in your opinion, what are some of the biggest challenges of running a $500 million fund?
Man, I mean, outside of the team stuff, because I feel like we've talked about the team stuff a bunch, because that is important. Man, I would say when a deal goes bad.
A foreclosure?
Yeah, or even like before that, when it's in that kind of limbo between we haven't foreclosed, but they're not paying interest, so we got to figure out what the exit strategy is. And, you know, when we started the business, it's, you know, you want to believe everyone and you want to believe everyone has good intentions. And so now it's, you know, since we are a smaller fund, we're able to have leniency and we're able to bend, but we have to be smart on who we bet on. So it's, you know, someone has a deal, they come in, they get on tough times, and it's like, okay, this person's on tough times. We want to get them to the finish line. Like, we want to make sure they get this project done, they complete it, and they, you know, that home run they thought they were going to hit at the start of the project, hey, man, you're going to hit a double now. But that's, you know, that's way better than striking out.
Yeah.
And for us, you know, we want to work with the same person over and over and over again. Like, we don't want to do one deal with someone. We want to do 20 deals with somebody because, frankly, it's easier to do that. So we want to see people succeed because selfishly we can work with them again. And then, you know, unselfishly, it's just, you know, it's a good thing to do. It's good to see other people succeed. And that's how you collectively bring yourself up. So the toughest thing, I think, is figuring out which are the people that we want to bet on and the people who we think really want it, and who are the people who are, you know, we're going to give them an inch. You know, you give them an inch and they take a mile kind of person. And so I think that's the toughest part, is really trying to differentiate who we want to bet on. Because, you know, foreclosure is not fun for anybody. You know,
So what is the process on that? So like somebody lends you $1 million, you lend it to this guy, you lend him $1 million, but it's not yours, right? It's his. He doesn't pay on the loan, and now you have a distressed asset that might not even be worth $1 million.
Yeah.
Because you lent him draws and all that, and you put probably some other stuff in the loan. So how does that work? Like, because I mean, you got to guarantee him the lender his money.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like, what do you do in that case?
Yeah. I mean, and that's where, you know, luckily the way we're set up, we've got a ton of loans. So at any given time, like, you're going to have like 1% of the loans. You know, 1% doesn't sound a lot, but you think about the number of loans now, it's a lot of loans. So you're always going to have like 1%, up, down, up market, down market, like that are just not in good spots.
Oh, so it's just so much that you just float it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's like it blends together, but then you got to make sure that 1% doesn't become 10%. So it's like there's always going to be a couple, but you got to keep them in check. So, and then like that $1 million loan that might not be paying right now, we got to work with them. It's like, hey man, what's your plan here? Like, do you have other projects? Like maybe you got something that's going to, you know, another project that you're going to sell in like a month or two. So it's okay. We got some cash coming in. It's just not going to be today. You know, maybe you paid for some work out of pocket and we'll figure out how to reimburse you for that. So you can pay the interest with that. I mean, that's kind of one of the nice things is we can get a little creative with that as long as it makes sense. You know, the thing we can't do is like, Well, JR, we gave you a draw, and then, we've got your subs calling us. They said they didn't get paid, and I was like,
Yeah.
I can't help you now. Like, there's not that mutual trust anymore. So as long as we can build that mutual trust, we try to work it out. But there's those tough ones where it's like, man, trust has been broken, so we got to move forward with this.
Yeah. So at what point you're saying 1% is like, that's inevitable.
Like always, yeah.
That's inevitable. So at what percentage do you think it's in the red, like SOS, and how? What do you think of the market right now, and is it dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of tough to say what percent like would be alarm bells, because you even think of like back to the first couple months of COVID, everyone's freaking out. Everyone's trying to get a forbearance, and it's just we're not like a Chase Bank. Like we don't have that ability.
Yeah,
we can work with you. We just can't work with 100% of the portfolio.
Yeah.
But obviously after that, it ended up being amazing, and everyone killed it, and we were thrilled, and we worked with those people and over and over and over again, and we still do. The market today, man, it's it's interesting because everyone wants to compare it to someone else or something else. Like people on YouTube want to say that it's 2008 all over again or whatever all over again. It's like people like to oversimplify things by comparing something to the last major quasi-similar deal. And it's like, man, it can't be further away from 2008. You look up to 2008, there was a rampant supply. Today, there's like no supply. The interest rates, though, are wildly different. We got really high rates, and rates have never risen this fast. I mean, the last time you go back to it is like 1970s type, and that's wild too. But that's also different than this for a lot more reasons. So it's like this is a really unique scenario. The people who I think are struggling the most are the people who bought right at the end of the frenzy. So like early 2022, and then they still had some COVID type delays. They had some stuff like that, and now they got to sell now in a high interest rate environment. Those are the people that I feel for them. But today's market, I feel good about because now things have normalized more on the kind of the real estate frenzy. There's really good deals to be had. Like wholesale shops like you guys. I mean, you guys are finding really great, awesome deals right now. So there's money to be made, but it's just now the expectations are with the same. So you're buying in a high interest rate environment, and you're going to sell probably in a high one again too. But I mean, shit. Sorry, I keep swearing.
No, you're good. Habit. This is a curse. Okay environment.
Sweet. Man, but like now in the last like 48 hours, we've had a lot of big news for interest rates. I mean, the Fed, what was that? Today's Friday now. Yesterday came out and, all but said interest rate hikes are done. So that's huge news. I mean, that's awesome. And then this morning you get a jobs report that shows that unemployment is rising. And it sounds terrible, but rising unemployment, if we're talking about inflation and lowering rates, is actually awesome news. And the reason is the big issue the last 2 years has been inflation is way too high. The bad news is the way to reduce that is by having less money in people's pockets. And the quickest way to do that is increasing the unemployment rate. So, and that's why, like, just today, you see mortgage rates. I mean, mortgage rates in the last, 48 hours are down 0.5%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in such a short amount of time, that's huge. And, I think we're going to keep, it'll be, a rocky road up and down, but I think we're going to keep seeing them go down.
Okay. That's good. What do you think they'll go back down to 3, 4 or not that low?
I don't think that low. But I mean, shoot, we were at 8. Some people, depends on which metric you use. I follow Mortgage News Daily. I mean, it was up to like 8.15 for the average rate. That means, maybe if your credit wasn't exactly where you wanted it to be, 8.4, 8.5, 8.6, maybe you're a little lower. I mean, I bet we could see it back down to the low 6s, high 5s here within like the next 12 months.
Okay. People will be buying again right there.
Man, heck yeah. I mean, that's
a great rate.
Historically, that's a good rate.
Yeah, because like 2-3% was like giving away free money.
2% is like monopoly, free money, like. Bless your heart if you got that mortgage
I got that
rate.
loan.
Never sell that house in your life.
I would never, ever,
Yeah.
ever. I had a pool and everything.
It's like, yeah.
I was looking like Fresh Prince.
It,
Oh, they didn't like me in that neighborhood. I had like 5 red cars. They were like, who the heck is this little young dude, man?
yeah, but it's like, yeah, that was wild. And like that was like with so much government intervention, like just all the stuff they're doing post-COVID was nuts to cause that like perfect storm in a good way.
Yeah.
But man, we're gonna get good solid rates again here pretty soon, I think.
All right, there you go, guys. If you're listening, hope is on the rise. We are coming back, gentlemen. So, all right. So for my audience, let's just say, they have $100,000 or they know somebody with $100,000. They don't know what to do with it. In your opinion, is becoming a private money lender, hard money lender, same thing? Do you think that's one of the best investments to put your money, or would you recommend other, like, there's stocks, there's all sorts of stuff you could invest your money in?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, so I'm biased, but there's pros and cons of everything. I would say if you are interested in lending, private money, doing something like hard money, do not lend second lien. Don't do second position. If it's like, family member or something like that, someone super close, maybe consider it. Or do an equity play, that's better.
Uh-huh.
But second position is such a risky spot because that first lien, like when you get your title commitment,
Uh-huh.
that first lien, like if they foreclose, they wipe out everything behind it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so that's why that second lien is so risky, is because, if you're going to lend out money, you want to be top dog. Like you want to be able to call the shots, because if you're second position, that first, I mean, they get pissed off at your guy, like it sucks. And they don't even have to notify you they're foreclosing on them,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it even scarier. So then you have to like keep tracking, like looking at public records, making sure they haven't filed for foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
The risk reward there, I don't think is there. First position hard money loans, I think it's awesome. I think it's a great way to make passive money. But I don't think you're going to get rich lending, 100, 200, even 500K, because you think about you're probably going to make like 10%-ish. So you're going to make money on it. So, man, I think if you got 100K and you want to multiply that as fast as possible, I think investing directly into like the flip deals is the way to go. It is, there's an element of risk into flipping. You can make a lot of money, you can lose money. But if you want to try to multiply that money, I think that's the way to go. And then, the majority of billionaires, they make their money through real estate. So once you flip it and make a money that's comfortable to you, then it's investing in those those buy and hold properties and getting that passive income that way. You get hopefully into some low rates, refi, like your 2% loan there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, you're just getting mailbox money and you're getting all the tax benefits of depreciation through there. So, like when you own a rental property, the cool thing is like you can depreciate that asset. So you say it's worth less every year.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just a straight write down to what you made. So, I mean, that's why a lot of really wealthy people, they don't really pay much in taxes because they're able to take advantage of the tax code that way. And real estate is one of the best, like totally up and up ways to take advantage of the tax code.
So you're saying $100,000, that's not enough to lend. Flip yourself some houses and get some capital.
Then get some,
some real capital.
Get that to a bigger number to where you can be first position on deals. Then you can lend it out. Or, flip them. And then for every X amount of flips you do, you get one rental. And then do X amount more flips, put that in another rental. To where you're making that money on the flip side, and then you're writing down all that money through depreciation on the other side.
Yep, I mean that's what I do. So what do you invest right now in real estate, or are you parking money in real estate?
So, man, I try not to directly like in flips and stuff like that. Just with our investors, so I can be like, hey, I'm independent.
Like conflict of interest.
Yeah. It's like I'm not playing favorites over here. I'm not doing none of that.
Yeah, cherry picking.
Exactly. I'm taking the best deals, or we foreclose on something, then I can take it. It's like I don't do that.
Okay.
Man, I just invest in our fund, like alongside of all of our other investors. throw my
park it
cash
back?
there, park it, make money on it. It's passive, but shoot, I don't
You're
have
in control of it.
Yeah, I'm in control of it, and man, I don't have enough time in my day to try to multiply it through like flipping a house.
Yeah.
If I did, I would, but you know, shoot, running the business is it's like a labor of love.
Yeah. Just got to hire a project manager.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You buy the house, get them on a salary.
Yeah, get someone you know and trust.
That's what I do. So what? But investing in your fund, you don't have the tax benefits, do you?
Nowhere near like investing in real like hard real estate. I mean, from a tax benefit standpoint, it's like nothing beats that.
Dang. So you probably have a pretty hefty tax bill. You need to find a way to fix that one.
It happens.
Some apartments or something.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah. Maybe I can help you with that. All right, guys. So actually, if you're watching that, on the 29th of November, we're going to have a event for multifamily. So we have a young stud. He's like 26 years old, and he's in charge of managing with his little syndication, or not little, with his syndication, over 1,000 units, over 1,200 units. Yeah, so... You know, and that's definitely where the money's at. You know, that's I like that. So we could think about maybe we could talk about some stuff like that later.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yep. So all right, guys. So we're coming to the end of the podcast. For anybody watching, do you have any last minute advice for them?
Man, let's see. Man, I think the biggest thing is one thing that we touched on, early on is. That 1% better. If you want to do something, man, you can do it, but you got to take that first step. And, you want to climb to the top of the mountain. You want to have a, $500 million fund. Man, that did not happen overnight. The first step was I just had to take the risk, move out, put one foot in front of the other, get 1% better that day, 1% better the next day, and just don't let yourself regress. And when you think you made it, it's like, bro, you better humble up. You haven't made it yet. I think that's the biggest thing.
I love that.
Bars.
All right, guys. So for everybody watching, where if they want to ask you any questions or anything, do you have social media, any way they can reach you?
Yeah. Honestly, man, even just email me directly. That's probably the easiest way.
There you go.
I'm on social media, but shoot, that'll get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, easiest way to reach me, Zack, Z-A-C-K, at loanrangercapital.com. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here for. We're running the fund, and, we got to be connected to our borrowers or even people who are thinking about being borrowers. I mean, we're hosting events just like you. So, if we can educate folks or just connect with them, I mean, that's a win for us.
There you go, guys. I hope y'all got a lot from this. This has been very... educational for me. I mean, I'm learning a lot from this podcast. I appreciate you for coming on. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. Y'all know where to find us, JR Clutch, on all platforms. And until the next one, we'll see y'all then. All right, stay clutch.